Hello everyone, welcome to gaming, and what an interesting couple months it's been in the world of PC hardware. Let's kind of start it off with the kind of big headliner. Well, not the big headline. Let's go into a bit of context first. So we all know AI, right? We all know it. Most of us hate it. Some of us love it. Mostly tech bros. Um, but the kind of root of the problem with AI most people have, beyond the fact that art and this and that, environment and energy and da 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 da, is also due to the fact that it's kind of causing RAM to kind of go extinct. Like it's been very hard to get RAM recently, and prices for it are skyrocketing, mostly due to the fact that data centers for the AI, for companies like OpenAI, just eat RAM like flipping potato chips. So they are extremely hard to come by at the moment, which has led to talks of computers, cell phones, tablets, all could be jumping in price as a result of the RAM shortages because RAM is in everything if you're not aware of computer tech. Trust me, it is in all tech in
More or
some form.
less, all computers kind of need to have at least roughly, quote unquote, around, I don't know.
At least 5 gigs, I'd say, RAM these
Yeah,
days.
like four at the very, very minimum, but more often than not, you kind of want to have like something around, like,
Well, 16 or something like that if you're doing gaming. But the point is,
yeah.
all computers need RAM to some extent, no matter how grand or all small. But like I said, data centers are um-num-numbing all the RAM.
Mhm.
And it's finally started to affect the games industry beyond, you know, we can't get the newest, our GPUs. Granted, we are not going to get the newest GPUs, but that's not the only problem. Because NVIDIA reports that, according to a story brought to you by the informant, the information, which sadly I cannot show you the base article because that is subscription based. So other things like tech, like this article here from freaking Tom's Hardware, and of course GameSpot will have to do for now. So, according to NVIDIA, they're pushing back the production of their GPUs for the RTX 60 for possibly 2 years, for a year or two. So we probably won't be seeing another NVIDIA launch for new cards for possibly 2 years because the 2050 is being delayed. And of course, the 2060, which is going to go after in production after that, is getting also delayed as a result of that. So we're probably not going to see a new one for at least 2 years, which is not good because that means we are not going to get a new graphics card for a while. Now, some of you might be sitting there going, whatever, not a big deal, right? If you're not a graphics Nazi, then you don't need the newest and greatest hardware. And sure, fine, fine. But you gotta remember, this is NVIDIA we're talking about. Their stuff is in everything. So even if you're not going with the biggest and brightest cards, like say you get a laptop, it's gonna be a decent model, that's gonna be in there as well, or a version of it. And it's more of a knock-on effect than just not getting the newest and best cards, because they've also stated in another article brought to you by GameSpot, who again goes into more details of the other article, that they are also going to be cutting production of current models. I can't give you exact percentages because unfortunately I don't have them on top of my screen here. But basically they plan to do things like postpone, well, we already covered the postponing of the delay. That'll also revive older GPUs to combat the ongoing shortage, namely the discontinued RTX 3060 GPUs. So there's that as well. Let me. I thought I had something on here that gave you the exact numbers as to how much they're cutting production, but sadly, I do not. But suffice to say, they are also going to be cutting the production of the current GPUs that are on the market for a certain amount. So that means the GPUs that are on the market that are already hard to get a hold of, because again, the aforementioned RAM shortage, excuse me, are going to become harder still. Sadly, I thought I had something here that gives you the exact numbers, but I guess I was wrong. Sorry about that. I'll see if I can dig that up for the comments after the fact. So where does this kind of leave us? Well, it leaves us in a weird position. You might be sitting there thinking, NVIDIA, why are you doing this, right? Why are you focusing on AI more than the gaming business? The gaming business is kind of what made NVIDIA, for pity's sake. GPUs exist because of gaming. It's kind of why graphics used this game to be, to process extra information that came with things like gaming and da-da-da-da-da. Well, money. Of course. It always comes back to money.
Money, money, money.
Indeed. Specifically due to the fact that according to a report by, again, CNN, this time CNN Business, or no, CNN, we have not had a CAN article. It was CBS the last time. because a lot of due to the profits of the AI boom that they've gotten over the last few years, Nvidia became one of the first $5 trillion companies in 4 charts. Basically, they become one of the first $5 trillion companies. They are a trillionaire company at this point. It was for a brief moment if you check the stocks, but yeah, they broke a 5 trillion for like a brief moment, which is kind of nutty. And as a result, this has resulted in a massive amount of profits. Nvidia is bringing in tons of it as a result of this. According to the article, they saw sales and profits were up for more than 60%. But again, most of this comes down to the fact that they're dealing mostly with data centers. So, long story short, data centers are driving profits, which are driving Nvidia's stock to go up, 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 up. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of where we sit right now, with Nvidia kind of basically putting all their eggs in the AI basket, saying, well, yeah, sure, we aren't exactly having a lot of RAM chips on the market for the consumer side of our business, or customer, I should say, I hate the word consumer. But the business side of our business, the B2B side, is doing wonders because of all the data centers like OpenAI who are taking all of our chips and buying them up in the bushels, so we're going to start focusing more on that. And of course, there's a whole side tangent I can go into about how, there's some trouble in the waters about there, and how, OpenAI has criticized the chips that are made by Nvidia, and Nvidia says nothing wrong, and Oracle's involved somehow. It's a whole mess. But I won't get into that because it's a whole tangent. What I will say is, though, it seems that while Nvidia is more than happy to profit off of the vast amounts of money these data centers from things like OpenAI are bringing them, it seems Nvidia's having their doubts about this whole AI thing, at least as far as OpenAI goes. So if you know Nvidia, you know that its executive chief Jensen Huang is the top dog over there. And publicly, he says everything is fine. But apparently, according to an article by Tepe Times, behind closed doors, it's a bit of a different story. Because apparently, according to Behind Closed Doors, it is reported that while they had planned to invest originally about $100 billion in capital for the sake, excuse that is the wrong line there. While there's massive sums of investment to be planned or were planned for OpenAI, behind closed doors, according to this, one states, let me find the exact line for you. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh well, regardless, let me just say that line again because, yeah, it was correct the first time. They did plan to invest $100 billion in the ChatGPT maker. However, like I said, behind closed doors, Huang has claimed that OpenAI has a lack of business discipline, as he says. So, Granted, again, as the article also says, he himself publicly states all is fine. We will invest a great deal of money in building reporters. So, all seems to be well. But again, it's So putting all of that together, that leaves us in a rather sticky situation where the chips are getting shorter on the market because open data centers, or AI data centers, are taking them up like OpenAI, and Nvidia, seeing all of that, and the profits are putting more into OpenAI, which is robbing more chips from the market, which is great for everyone, including Nvidia. Except for the fact that apparently behind closed doors they're having a few doubts, at least as far as OpenAI, one of the big ones on the market, is concerned. Who knows what they feel about other AI businesses, or maybe Huang knows about all the AI businesses. So, yeah, that's kind of where we are with this week. It's kind of a bit of a mess all over the place. I thought we'd cover this one because, like I said, granted this news about the chip shortage, or the whole delay of the RTX chip, has been talked about since I think at least December or something like that. But like I said, news has broken that it is officially official. They are delaying the release. They're, like I said, rebooting the 3060, I think it was, for the RTX to kind of, basically fill demand right now. That is already, technically it was a defunct chip, so they're bringing it back. And yeah, a bunch of stuff's going on right now. So we thought it would be an interesting time to cover this whole business with chips, as it were. It's a mess. It's a mess. What do you think about it all, Justin? I haven't asked your opinion for this in a hot while.
Everything's going to be super expensive. Yay!
Yeah, it does seem to be the direction everything is heading in. Like I said in the beginning of the show, RAM is in pretty much all, well, it is in all computers to some degree or another. And since the RAM chips are being eaten up like potato chips, it means that it's going to become a lot harder to get those chips and much more pricey to get those chips. And businesses being businesses, they are not going to eat that cost themselves. They are probably going to pass it on to you, the good customer, somewhere. So I guess the moral of the story is just be careful of your electronic purchases and keep an eye on those electronic bills, man. At least as far as buying new computers, laptops, and just anything related to computerization is concerned going forward, yeah?
Yep.
Will this flatten out? Maybe, maybe not. There's rumors that the bringing in of Chinese chips might do something, it might not, we'll see. But again, that's a whole story for another day. So yeah, that's it for this week's video. Hope you all enjoyed, hope you found it informative at the very least, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Have a good one.